What is going on, my friends? Welcome back to the channel. Today is a very big day for the Evo 8 rebuild. We've made a ton of progress on the car. We have so much stuff already finished up. Gas tank we got done yesterday, that took forever. A ton of Cerakoted parts all finished up using that there. Powder coated parts. We have a few things left. One main obvious thing being the entire underside of this car. We still have to take care of the driveline and the front part of the driveline as well. Rear axles, rear diff. And then of course we cannot do anything until we get all of the hardware back from Zinc. I'm contemplating buying my own zinc plating setup just so we can do that here. That'd be really nice. And that would save us money in the long run because I feel like in the future we're always gonna be doing that. So the underside of this thing isn't terrible. From pretty much here forward is clean rust-wise. The only rust I really see is just in this section right here. It's all surface rust from what I can tell. Looks like some surface rust on that side as well. But like I said, from pretty much the front of the rear wheel wells forward, there's no rust whatsoever. I do still want to recoat it all, so it looks nice. One large reason why I wanted to do the fuel tank first before doing any of this undercoating is because I wanted to use and test out the Raptor liner, which is what we use on the fuel tank. It turned out really well. I love how it looks. I know the underside or parts of the underside of the car are supposed to be factory blue. I already know that. I know there's gonna be some comments about that. I don't really care. Obviously this car is not supposed to be a factory OEM spec rebuild. I think you could tell just by looking at that. So I wanna go ahead and do the whole underside of the car and make it look like this. Nice, clean, almost like a wrinkle black finish. Now this tank took us just over 20 hours to get completed. That's only because this tank had a ton of rust on the top side. So we ended up stripping the whole thing down to bare metal and then coating it. I don't plan on doing that same thing on the underside. Of course, where there is rust, we're gonna take care of that. That's gonna be completely down to bare metal. But any painted surface, like all this red up here, you don't need to bring that down to bare metal for the Raptor liner to properly adhere and for it to last. I think overall it's gonna look absolutely amazing with the different shades of black that we have going on. We're gonna have the flat black of the Raptor liner. We have all the gloss black right here. And then of course all the bright aluminum parts that are Cerakoted. I hope I don't regret not tinting the Raptor liner because we can make that any color in the world, but I want it black, so I hope I don't regret that. First thing I wanna do is just go through, degrease the whole underside, bust out the pressure washer and start pressure washing because it's pretty dirty. Before we get to work cleaning, I'm gonna pull off the coilovers and pull off the rear bumper as well. I'm sure I'm covered in dirt and grease from head to toe, but we got the whole underside degreased and pressure washed. Definitely much easier to tell where exactly we have rust issues. So basically this mount here, mount on that side, both a little bit. Other than that, it should be pretty freaking simple to get this thing looking mint. I have degreased and pressure washed the underside probably 4 times now, and all of this road grime just keeps coming off. So I'm gonna keep at it until we get it all cleaned off. I did go ahead and remove all of the lines. So there were the rear brake lines, then all the fuel lines as well. We're not really using any of these fuel lines. We were currently using the stock feed as our return because it was a -6, but instead of using that, I'm just gonna go ahead and run an actual -6 hose instead of the hard metal line, just because those things are so rusty. And then of course we're gonna have to use the rear brake lines. We can get those all cleaned up though, so it looks nice instead of some rusty crusty lines on the car. So yeah, let's keep degreasing, pressure washing, get this thing as clean as possible. And then I have this assortment of wheels. So I got another 4-inch wire cut brush and then some of these nylon abrasive wheels as well. So we've made some pretty insane progress over pretty much the last day. Look at our freaking floor. This is such a disaster of a job. So we have pretty much from like right here forward all finished up, cleaned up, ready to go. We still need to do everything back here, as you guys can see, and then all up in here. I want to get all that cleaned out. But we ran into a problem with our angle grinder. Every time you plug that into the wall, it shocks you. So I don't know what happened to it. It's fried. She don't work. Let's go get a new one. Go to a Harbor Freight special. We got a new angle grinder. We got some more wheels. We got a coffee, and we are gonna get this thing fully prepped out tonight. If we could get it 100% ready to go tonight and sprayed out tomorrow, I would be pretty happy. 2 full days for an entire undercarriage, not bad at all. So we got the wheel wells all cleaned up. This thing's like 95%, and I'm gonna call that a night right there. I need to spend the rest of the night and clean up the shop because, well, do the best we can. Of course, every single thing over here is gonna have to come out because all of this freaking dirty, greasy, oily, nasty water is all under the shelf, by all the wheels and tires, by the tire mounting machine, under the blaster, under the toolbox, under everywhere. So I'm just gonna get the majority of this shit pushed outside, give the underside a good last wash, and hopefully get this thing sprayed out tomorrow. It looks pretty funny right now. I'll bear. All right, my friends, it is the next morning. First thing I want to do today is go ahead and get the entire car masked off. And then I'm gonna try to build like a little spray booth around the car. I don't really know. Maybe just drape some plastic down the sides, just so it doesn't, either way, I feel like it's gonna fill the entire shop with paint. So let's go ahead and get the car down, get the entire body masked off, and then we need to get it back up in the air and figure out what we're gonna do for masking everything off in here. I might just jam some plastic everywhere. We'll figure it out. But yeah, this entire underside is all prepped out, ready for some epoxy primer, and then we're gonna spray down some Raptor liner. So I'm really excited to see how this thing is gonna look, and of course how it's gonna hold up. I have a pretty good feeling about it just because that stuff is so freaking hard when it dries. This tank we sprayed a few days ago, this thing's like rock solid. You cannot get this stuff off. We are pretty much ready to start laying down some product. We got everything masked off. We got the entire car masked off. I went extra long on the plastic and just wrapped it underneath and then jammed a bunch of paper up in there. I hope that covers it good enough to where we don't get a ton of overspray. I think we should be good. So we got all that, masked it all the way down to the rockers. I'm not gonna be spraying these, but if we get a little bit of overspray on there, I don't really care. So that's how all that is. Got it all masked off on the fender wells, and then of course the shop masked as best as possible. So yeah, the plan is spray down the epoxy and then wait about an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, doesn't really matter. Anytime before 3 days. I'm gonna come back through, mask all of the threads just because that Raptor liner is super thick. So mask all the threads and then spray down the Raptor liner. This is exciting. This is how she looks, completely bare, scuffed. Already went through with the wax and grease remover. But yeah, let's lay down some epoxy. Okay, we have the whole entire underside epoxied. It came out really, really nice. Oh yeah, that is gonna be sick. And it's gonna match the front as well because if you guys remember when we sprayed out the engine bay, we also did the front inner fenders in black. So it's gonna look really nice. But here's how everything else looks as of right now. Freaking beautiful. I cannot wait to get this thing fully reassembled. It's been just over an hour, so we're gonna go ahead and spray down the Raptor liner. Like I mentioned earlier, we have to go through and mask off all the threads because I'm pretty sure Raptor liner would make those useless. We got everything sprayed out. It's been a few hours. I'm gonna go ahead and unmask the shop, unmask the car. Hopefully we didn't get too much overspray on the floor. I think we should be good. And see how everything looks. Everything's cleaned up. This underside looks so amazing now. I'm really, really glad we ended up just doing all black. Went ahead, threw that bar on just so we can get a good idea of how this thing's gonna look with the black and the silver. Damn, she turned out so freaking nice. I know it's a little bit hard to see because it's underneath the car, but wow, I'm stoked. And I'm even more excited that we were able to get this whole project done in, I think it's 2.5 days total. It's not bad, not bad at all. Go ahead, drop a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you guys think. Unfortunately, there are a few things that we still have to do before we can get it back together. We have to do the rear diff, rear axles. We have to find somebody that can coat this guy with Cerakote because it's still too big for our oven. Powder coat rear sway bar, and then we still need the hardware back from Zinc. So within, I would say like 4 or 5 days, this thing should be 100% done, back on the road, ready to rip. We have all of the replacement bushings here. I ended up just buying a whole kit. We have all new bearings. We have all new seals. We have all new everything for the underside and the rear end. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Peace out, my good friends. I'll see you tomorrow.